So I got a new chair yesterday. I was at the thrift store. You know what's so crazy? Like if you came into my house, into my little cabin, it is it's super cute, I think, and super homey. But when I look around, all of my stuff is like old or thrift store. One thing I have that's new is that table. That table was really expensive. Well, to me, really expensive. It was $600, but it was the kind you can fold it down, and with small spaces, you need to have something like that. So, anyways, that table was expensive, but everything else, like my couch, is really cute. It was free. This chair I got for $50. My other chair, I just put it in my room. My daughter was like, "Get rid of it." But I didn't want to get rid of it. I was like the whole time I'm thinking, where can I put it? Where can I put it? Where can I put it? And then my granddaughter, she's like, "Don't get rid of the chair." I was like, "I'm not." So I put it in my room. I moved my room. My room's a little crowded. I mean, my house is really small, but I mean, how much space do you need in your bedroom? Do you need to be able to lay on the floor and do like angels and stuff? Like you just need to be able to walk around, right? Like, so I have a chair in my room now. But this chair, I like it because, well, you can put your feet up, which I really like. And I have something, I don't know what it is. Some people say it's that nervous leg syndrome or whatever it is. But those people say it feels like bugs are crawling on them. No, I don't have that. I have some sort of electrical shocks. It's like electrical shocks. And so I move my legs, and my feet. I drive people crazy. I'm always moving my feet. I'm always moving. And so now I have a chair that moves. I'm gonna even move more. So this chair it rocks and everything. But $50, and it's so crazy because as soon as it's like as soon as I see something that I want in my head, it manifests so quick. I can't believe it. And like yesterday, everything was going so perfectly in sync. You know, like I was saying today, you know, like and this is talking about the evil people, you know, like everybody's in a panic. Oh, what do we gotta do? We gotta stop them. We gotta do this. We gotta do that. And all of these different events are all happening just to wake people up. You know, the people who are super focused on this, they're gonna see, a lot of things that are gonna wake them up. The people who are focused on election and government and how we run this world and police and judicial and I mean everything. It's all collapsing. But not everybody's focused on all things. Like I've said, a lot of people just get focused on one thing. But it's all collapsing. And that's going to be shocking for some people because they think, oh, yeah, we'll just clean this mess up and then everything's going to be good to go. Yeah, we'll clean up the schools. We'll clean up the government, the schools, the medical, like the list goes on and on and on. So all these systems have to collapse. And, you know, like in a Mercury retrograde, there's like nothing you can pick up, like you drop everything, you bump into anything that can go wrong is going to go wrong. And every time, and I don't know necessarily a Mercury retrograde. I mean, that has that reputation, but there can be different alignments. It's just when you're in one of those alignments where I swear to God, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to drop it. And it just feels like everything's out of alignment. So that is what's happening for the deep state. You know, there's nothing they can do that is going to work right. Every single thing is going to drop or fall apart, or everything is just going to implode because it's a cosmic kind of cycle. And it's an energy that they're attached to. It's the ending kind of that energy. You know, when you think about like nature and all that, you know, the movement of like how they always show us with DNA, you know, the two things and how they move. Everything is always moving like that. But in all movement, in all things, there has to be endings and recycles, you know. It has to go and do something different. because it already happened, it already existed. So it needs to change, it needs to die and reborn and change and stuff. So this energy that has this, people have created this toxicity here and has involved our planet and stuff, then they that energy is ending. So if you're attached to that energy, you see, then that is going to be a huge pull on you. And that's what is freaking playing out. Like I didn't even see my kids. 2020 was such it was so much about clear vision, because you saw things clearly that you didn't see before. It's when I saw that Trump wasn't a bad guy. It's when I started seeing that my kids had some really shitty things inside of them that were, bullying kind of stuff to me. But, it's just stuff for people to learn. I'm not saying it's bad or good or anything like that. It's just things for people to learn. And this chair's going to be noisier too. It makes noises and it's leather. So, but the leather is also good because, the couch and the chair, because you can wash them off. Dogs are stinky, especially on the woods. So, okay. Anyways, so the people have, let me get back on track what I was talking about. I get so many things coming in my head at once. Just slow it down and get back to where I was. So when it is like a cosmic kind of cycle, because that is part of like the whole thing. If you're familiar with Dolores Cannon stuff, and the 3 waves, I see people on TikTok now talking about all this stuff. I see people on TikTok talking so much about stuff that I was learning about, like, I don't know, 6 years ago or something. It was really, really, I wish I would have had a whole bunch of people to talk about it with, but there weren't, there wasn't people who, even if I tried to bring it up to people who I thought were spiritual or something, they're just like, I don't know. But now people are talking about it, so it is exciting. But Dolores Cannon talked about the 3 waves of the people coming in, and it was like the earth, like people say, the God put out the call, and then all of these different spirits, in all these different lives said that they would come back. And but I think it was the earth that was calling out, and not like screaming out. It's a vibration, and if you're at a higher vibration, you can read that language, hear it, understand it, or know it. You know what I mean? And this is the thing, and this is where it's gonna get like real. So I don't know if I can explain it in a coherent kind of way, because I can see it, I can understand it. And this is where I start thinking, when we get like downloads or insights or whatever the different things that you want to call them, if it really is just triggering your inner knowing, your memories and your DNA. So certain events that you decided to be triggered at certain times in your life for your inner memory, your inner knowing, to remember certain things. And you can't remember them all at once. Like if you came into life and the veil wasn't there and you just knew all things, then it would be super overwhelming. Like, how would you deal with it? Like, even for me right now, all of the information I have all the time, it is a lot to deal with. I mean, sometimes it is so much stuff that is just like, what? I mean, nothing matters. Nothing freaking matters. Nothing matters. And we all sit here worrying. Nothing freaking matters. And it is so, you can get all caught up in all these different things, and it can seem so crazy and overwhelming. And so I can see why you can just be born and know all of the things, why it has to be little by little, the veil lifted, and triggers and downloads and I know there's open communication with the other side, especially like I've known it, or I've had awareness of it. I think that there's so many people who are doing it, they just don't have awareness of it. But I had awareness of it since this young age. And so I know that we're getting information from them, downloads, insights, whatever. But you also have an inner knowing. But that is how when they show me things or tell me things or whatever, it is like that. It is like a whole memory just opens up. It's a whole thing. I just have a deeper understanding. It's as if they hand me a book, and them handing me the book, all of a sudden I know everything inside of it. So, there's something, I don't know. I mean, we're going to learn so much more as we go. So, all of the things I talk about are, like, what do you think? Like, I think this, like, have you noticed this? Have you noticed that? Because everything is unwrapping itself. Just like, like we don't really have to do anything. I mean, each person has their own contract, their own guide, their own specific plan in place for this situation. So I'm not going to say, oh, nobody needs to focus on politics, nobody needs to focus on this or that, because people do need to. There has to be certain people who are focused on that, because that is part of the process of moving it into the newer phase, so we start developing in other areas, so people see like, hey, this didn't work, hey, this is what we didn't know, we're going to do it this way. People who understand the format of certain dynamics of civilization. So when we all come together, we start making a complete picture of a real world where we create it, and so and that is part of this whole thing with the starseed and the 3 waves and stuff like that. But I think that was the earth calling out to putting out this vibration of need. And we can see how toxic it had become here, and how it, like I've said before, it's like a disease. It was like a cancer. It started growing here, and it was, it was killing her. And there's beings that just don't give a shit. I mean, she's so beautiful that they just used her up and spit her out over and over and over. And when you look into some of the stuff about the flat earth stuff, and they go in and show you like where it was giant trees chopped down, and that everything used to be silicon based, and that the gullies and stuff like that is where they mined, and just forever just took her resources and beat her down, and like took the natural beings that were a part of her planet, and then restructured them with science, and took enslavement over a whole species. Well, I can't say a whole, like just us, because humans have also enslaved so many other species. Like, it's kind of a domino effect, you know what I'm saying? So but there's so many different things, how there's layers. So so the star seeds all start coming in, and a star seed would be these are just labels. It's just so you get an idea what I'm talking about. So the beings that are in higher dimensions, that could hear the vibration, that were out there, that wanted to come and help the beings here, because souls are all a part of the same thing. And so all the other ones who were going and living their lives, they're like, okay, well, we're going to go and we're going to help. So they come. Well, all of these different ones, in order to be up in the higher dimensions, you have more of an understanding of more things. You can't go up in the higher dimensions without learning first. You don't get to enter and then learn. You have to learn to get there, and then you get the next lessons. You don't get to skip. That's why you have to do the work. The work is what is important. So the ones that came back already had more advanced knowledge than the ones that are here. And so the ones that from all of these different galaxies and stuff, that is the same that seeded Earth to begin with. And so to me, like the star seeds, so they tried to seed the Earth over and over and over, the different planetary, beings, all the different, like the Pleiadians, Sirians, Orion, all these different ones you hear all about. And reptilians is a huge part of our existence, of all existence. They were one of the first ones that could live in heat. So I guess that's what he was talking about in on that show Initiation. I've learned so much more about reptilians listening to him, and the stuff he says, it makes sense. So I think his stuff is really memories. I mean, somebody else could think it's a scripted thing. I don't know, but to me, it resonates with my inner knowing. So all the different beings, all the different races, species, whatever you want to call them out there, all have different philosophies of existence, of where they got to where they got. Some of them have never even gone through the Earth program, because it's really hard. It's like going to a work camp prison or something. It's hard as shit, this world. And so the people who do come here are like warrior, like they're badasses. And a lot of the higher spiritual beings haven't been through what this teaches you. And this is why when this ascension occurs, why this harvest happens and stuff like that, what moves us into that higher phase of existence of being a part of the Galactic Federation, because what we bring to the table about what this is like to experience death, pain, suffering, and all that, because a lot of other beings don't even understand that, and how much you have to grow when you go through that propels you into a higher state of consciousness, so you can start sharing your knowledge. You're part of the seed that goes to the other systems to start bringing in the knowledge. So to me, it seems like, so the star seeds come and they bring this stuff. They've tried to send Jesus, Buddha, all these different people down to bring information, but they always get, even back a long time ago, they all thought they were gods in the sky. They turn them into religions and just something to worship, because they don't know their own inner power. They hadn't grown to that point yet. And so any of the stuff that you talk about that is higher, because I do this all the time, I'm always talking over people's heads. When you start talking about like higher conscious kind of concepts, a lot of people just they just don't get it. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It just sounds like crazy talk, babbling crazy talk. So there's a lot of stuff that people, you don't understand it until you're ready to understand it. And then when you're ready to understand it, it will be shown to you. It's like the teacher, the teacher-learner thing. And when the student is ready, the teacher will be there, kind of philosophy. But so you have all of these different, beings out there that are still trying to get their philosophies down here. And so you have all of these star seeds from all of these different systems. And when he's talking about originally on Earth, there was 12 different ones that came and brought their philosophies and put them into mankind to try and develop them into more spiritual beings, blah, 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 whatever. You can watch the show and he'll explain it a lot better than me. So then if they come and then they go into here and they're just born, and like for me, I had a super hard life I've talked about before, and I know the stuff I'm supposed to be sharing about is about healing and about resilience and how to get through stuff, because it's hard to get through traumas in your life, and there's a lot of stuff, and we've been misdirected in how they've taught. Psychology is a misdirection, just like the medical establishment. And, you always want to go inside. You want to connect to spirit. You want to connect to your higher aspect of self. That's where you find your healing. It's within you. I think that's what Jesus was constantly talking about. That is the road to enlightenment. That is the way to get to everywhere. The road is inside of you. And it's explained in all different ways and translated in all different ways. And people miss a lot of people miss what it's really about. But so of all of these people have come here to this planet with this knowledge, and there's a lot of people who are ready to ascend and graduate, and they are focused on their spirituality, their healing, and trying to do better for their avatar, mind, body, spirit. They're tuned in to the earth and nature and all of that stuff. So there's a lot of people who are ready for that. And then there's all of the people who came here for it. And so, and I think this catastrophe thing, I think it's going to be a cataclysm, because he was even talking about that today in the Earth cycles, that it is, they have to do these, like I say, these cataclysms all the time. It's part of the Earth cycle, so it can start new. We're going into the age of Aquarius, which is a completely new system, completely new paradigms, where we're going to go into living completely different existence, so that we learn new things as a soul. Like everybody who finished learning this kind of stuff is going to go and start experiencing this other kind of stuff. So that new earth has to end. So the cataclysm makes perfect sense to me. And and that there's going to be mass death. I mean, we keep hearing about it, and we're all like, to me, it's just like sitting here waiting. It just keeps reminding me of when you go to the stupid eye thing and they put you up there and they're going to puff that eye and you're just sitting there bracing yourself. That's how I feel like fucking for weeks, months. I swear to God, for all of this year. I can't even believe this year's almost over. It's just mental. And so, you know, I mean, a lot of us are just sitting here bracing ourselves like for what's to come. And, you know, there's a huge expectation. There's going to be a lot of death, and it's going to be a part of the cycle. But we got to remember, death is not real. Death is an illusion. Death is programmed into you to think of it being the end, but it's not. It's a transition. And those people have to also shed this old energy to get rid of it. You know, so there's going to be a lot of shedding this energy, and it's happening naturally, like a snake. A snake doesn't need us to go in and watch it to shed its skin. It's the same thing with Earth, with the energy, like this old energy that is no longer needed, that we're moving out of. And that's why these bad people are going to cease to exist, because their energy is like they're a balloon out in space, and it is being deflated, and it's just going and floating out there, getting smaller and smaller. That's their energy. It is separating. It is like, see, the way they show me this stuff is, and it's hard to explain, but because sometimes I think I sound like a babbling idiot. But I think that everybody has the thing that they can see it. I just think everybody's just got to learn how to start to trust it. But then, you know, people see, like, it is hard to explain. Stuff that you can understand in your head is really hard to explain. But there is something about the whole thing. It is all about energy and consciousness. That's what I know for sure. Everything is about energy and consciousness. And I've seen so many cool TikToks. My kids make fun of me. I don't know, something about a For You page, because your For You page will go and adapt to what you want to look at. And my grandkids were like, let me see your For You page, Grandma. Like, what is there, rumors that I'm on crazy For You page? Like, oh my gosh. I think that's why with Odin's Men, like, I can't even watch that anymore. As his is just filled with like degenerates or something. Like, oh my gosh. He has got a lot of weird people on his. But I think that's what my grandkids thought mine was gonna be like, or something. I don't even know. I don't know. When you're taught that somebody is crazy, then you're only gonna see someone who's crazy. You're not gonna see past that. And everything you like to tell somebody. Think about it in this way. Like, if you tell your little kid, like your mom, because this isn't just in my family, this is tons of families. So if you tell your child that your mother is crazy, or your father, or whoever, no matter what your personal dynamics and reasoning behind this stuff, you know, all these relationships are for each of us to heal, not pass it on to the next generation, but for us to heal, because that's how we become whole. Everything that is, all of our traumas and stuff, we chose them. We put them there. We placed them there for our own growth. So, and you know, to sit and victimize and whine and cry because oh, life's so hard doesn't make any sense, because you do it to yourself. But when you go through and you start Just a second, let me get back on track. What I was talking about. It's like it literally felt like in my head, like it was an intersection all of a sudden, and like a whole bunch of cars just crashed. And it was all, like all this information just suddenly crashed. It was like, even for a second, I was like watching it like, wait, what? Okay. Anyways, I don't know. I think I probably made my point, I guess. But anyway, I just know what I always go back to. I will go to. This is all about healing. This is all about the soul's journey. This is about the soul evolving. And, you know, there's lots of people who are going to have some pretty devastating wake up kind of situation going. And, oh, I remember. Okay. So about if you tell someone's crazy all the time, you know, you say, this person's crazy. Like, I'm seeing it. Like, they start looking at you like you're crazy. You start becoming what crazy is to them. So whatever I do, then they start automatically like, whatever I do, it's crazy. Whatever I say, it's crazy. So then if they go out and they find or see anyone else that would be like me, they would think that person was weird and crazy. They wouldn't, you know, think that person. It is like a cult programming. It is like a cult programming that we do when we tell our kids or our grandkids or something of how to look at something. And I'm seeing it. This is something that became really clear to me in 2020, was how many people see me through somebody else's eyes. And it doesn't matter like what I'm doing. I could freaking put on a clown suit and jump around and they still only see what it is weird. It's really weird. But it's true. And it may sound completely crazy to some people, but it is really true. People don't see you. I see an identity. They see most people, because of their own traumas and their own problems, they only see them own selves. Their traumas are always is what they are seeing. They don't see you at all. They are only reacting. And whatever, like, you say something, they're going to pick up in the messaging what confirms to them what they believe. So if they believe you're crazy, then they're just going to pick up all those messages. Well, you know, that you're crazy is confirmation, because they're only going to hear certain words. They're going to hear them a certain way. It's really, really weird. But it really does work like that. I mean, it is extreme. And I heard something the other day on some show or something. I always watch weird stuff. But that you are, you are creating your experience as a consciousness, but it's not even real, because it's like you are experiencing yourself. Every single thing around you is you experiencing yourself. Like, some of that stuff gets so trippy. Like, you even start trying to imagine it. Like, some of the stuff I can understand and I can see it, but some things start just becoming so like, oh my gosh. So none of these other beings are even involved. It's just me imagining them. Like, I don't know. It gets down to so much weirdness, like about, like, I get the whole thing about souls and about how this whole system is plasma, you know, and all of the word stuff that they use, and that what we see, like, if you look at the flat earth map stuff, then it looks like an eyeball with the firmament and stuff, and it looks like an eyeball. So you can see, so you can have the experience, so you can have the understanding. So if you think about that eyeball being there, and then when you think about that toroidal field thing, the magnetic field, and how it looks like an apple, and how it goes around. So you think about like the firmament, and then we are in that. So it is actually, we would be inside of Earth, but we're a realm. because Earth doesn't even really exist in our concept of Earth, any more than the concept of what they made out to be, the Satan and God and stuff like that, because that is those are manifestations, a visual manifestation of an energy or an existence. You know what you know what I mean? Like, see what I mean? I start saying things where I'm like, anybody can answer me. I start saying things like, I don't know, maybe this is like too crazy. It would be so fun to be able to sit around a big campfire and a whole bunch of, us weird people who like to talk about weird stuff, to be able to talk. I mean, I would go, I can't even tell you how many people I would try and get to talk about stuff over 40 years. I think even before that, I remember being really young and constantly going out and looking for spaceships. And it was really exciting because my mom saw one. She actually saw one. Well, there's been more than one, but this was a huge sighting in Dallas. You can probably look it up in the newspaper still. And it was over the mall. And it was a big spaceship, and it just sat there, just kept sitting there. And she said it looked like a merry-go-round with the colors. The colors would just kept going around, and it just hovered over by where the mall was for a long time. It had tons and tons of people who saw it because it was even in the newspaper about it. So that was really exciting. And but still, everybody just goes right back into their their hypnotized phase of life, where even to my mom, she even read the Chariots of the Gods and stuff, but it didn't align, the stuff doesn't line up with the Bible. So she, put it up on the shelf. Like, no, that's not real. The Bible's real. And just yesterday, she was talking to me about all of the fake. We were having a conversation, how nothing's real, and some of the absurdity and stuff, and how none of it's real, and how it's all so fake and made up. But she still doesn't put that with religion with them. So I don't know. I think it's crazy. So tomorrow I've got to do that drive. I've got company all day, and then I got to drive to Seattle again. And then, and we've got the total fucking floods going here. So I don't even know. Maybe I won't be able to go. Maybe the roads will be washed out. I was getting emergency broadcasts or emergency things on my phone last night. I was like, oh, please be this. No, it was just evacuation emergency stuff. Telling who to evacuate and blah, blah, blah. So, but, this is what I was expecting, one disaster after another. There's been no sun for, I don't even know, a week or something. I don't remember. I always document this stuff because I go out and watch the sun, and it's weird. The sun's not even normal anyways. It's an illumination disc, and it only comes for a very short amount of time, especially where I am. You hardly ever see that thing. So anyways, if I don't say anything tomorrow, then I'll get back to business. Because there's a lot of exciting stuff happening. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. And so I'll get back to business this week, Wednesday. Get back to being more in order. I don't like things out of order. I need things to be in order. And that's one thing. I don't know, with my brain injury, when things are like rushing, and it feels weird. Like I can't keep track, like where I have to keep on like stopping, like, okay, wait a minute, what's going on? Okay, wait a minute, where am I? Okay, wait a minute, what's going on? So I can't wait till med beds. I hope so much that lady had said that in December they're going to start setting appointments for the beginning of 2022, because I'm really wanting those things. I want my eyes fixed so bad. I want to be able to see clearly. I would like my brain fixed. I would like to be able to think clearly, and I can't wait to have my spine to be straightened, just because it just gets sore. Like, I think it's gonna be so exciting to be able to get in there. I mean, just imagine being in a body that doesn't have all these aches and pains and sickness and disease and poisons and oh my gosh, I'm super excited. I'm super excited for the future. So anyways, I'll talk to you. I'll be back even if I'm not here tomorrow. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.